As your mind is pulled from sleep, you become aware of the breathing body beside you and smile with contentment. You blink your eyes open, finding Izuku in the grey winter daylight. He's already awake and staring at the roof of the dome, deep in thought. "What are you thinking about?" you ask. Izuku turns to you, his beautiful soft smile ready to greet you. "Just thinking about how great it is to be back. I felt lost without you as well." Thus, he brushes against your hand, clinging to his arm. Feels right. You return his smile, feeling no less at peace. You shift closer, if that were possible, and Izuku turns to encompass you in his arms. Your head finds solace in his chest, at his heartbeat, while his rests upon your hair. How is it that breathing came easier when you were sharing your air with Izuku? You'd slept all that time, and yet only now did your body feel truly rested. But of course, their tranquility had to be disrupted. "You know we have to go hunting, right?" Izuku informed annoyingly. "We can't keep living off that one pot of stew." You groan, exaggeratedly. "I don't want to move." Though reluctant, you knew he was right. They'd eaten nothing but that stew for the past 2 days, and Izuku had barely eaten at all, claiming that you needed it more. "I can go if you want. You can stay," Izuku suggested, and you pull your head from the comfort of his chest to shoot him an amused look. "Did you undergo some drastic change while you were gone? Were you possessed by someone who can actually hunt?" you tease. He pouted. "That's mean." You pop your tongue out of your mouth. "I'm allowed to be mean. In fact, I think I will be mean for the same amount of time that you left me." Izuku sighed, gazing fondly down at you. "Whatever punishment you think fit, however will I bear your cruel words when I have grown up with Kachan of all people. Have mercy." "I can be worse than him." Isuku laughed, running his hands quickly through your hair. "Oh, I don't doubt it, puppy." Hunting with Izuku again felt like home. He was as skeptical of climbing upon your back as he was all those years ago, saying he'd feel better to do so once you'd regained your strength. You had assured him that you were not only capable at that moment, but needed that familiarity to feel connected to him again. With Izuku's secure weight returning to your back, you felt lighter than you ever had. You charged through the forest, saturating in the thrill you'd abandoned in your haze, and began to scent for prey. Until Izuku squeezed his legs together, calling for you to stop. "Sorry, I just saw a snow glider pushing through over there. Do you mind?" You smile to yourself and kneel down, allowing Izuku off, content in the knowledge that nothing substantial had changed. Izuku ran his hand through the fur on your head. "Do you want me to come find you after, or would you rather come find me?" You poke your nose under his chin. He chuckled. "You'll come find me?" You nod, nuzzling him, before bounding away to find something worth hunting. You resisted the urge to look back at Izuku, to assure yourself. His scent still lingered on you, and it would be effortless to trace the smell of fresh herbs back to him. You pause, dragging thick lines into the snows once again with your sudden stop. You could smell someone else, a scent like burnt sugar. Tentatively, you head towards him, and after a few paces, you need not follow his scent. His swears were loud enough. "Lord knows that dumbass would find this goddamn trap in the middle of nowhere," Katsky yelled as he wrestled to dislodge another of the large metallic bear traps that was caught in the root of a tree. Even after you fought and shouted for him to leave you alone, he was still trying to protect you. You shift back with a sigh, emerging to be seen. "I take offense to that," you say. Katsky drops the trap and whips around to face you in one motion. He's tense and startled, but his eyes immediately scan your body and then flick back to meet your gaze. He frowns. Moving already? You shrug. I had a good meal. His eyes narrow. That's so. You stare at him, not answering. There was so much about Katsuki you didn't understand. From when he changed and left them without an explanation, to now, where he glared at you like you were the bane of his existence, but seemed to have made it his personal mission to ensure you are unharmed. The rift between them had formed into a chasm that stretched deep to match the hurt in your heart. And yet, Katsuki still felt like only an arm's reach away. You exhale slowly. Look, I'll never understand why you are the way you are, why you do some of the things you do, but I know that you care about me, about us. And I guess that will just have to be enough. I wanted to come and thank you for sending Izuku back to me. Even though you took him away to begin with, I know you were trying to help me. But I don't want you interfering anymore. We will figure this out. Katsuki's jaw clenched, but his glare lacked substance. You are the most stubborn fucking mutt I've ever met. Even an animal knows when it has to move on. But you're dumber than that, huh? You sigh. I'm sorry, Katsuki, but there's nothing for me out there. Izuku is here. You are meant to be here. Katsuki's hands fist, but he merely turned around, muttering, Your fucking funeral. See if I fucking care. The bush rustled, and both of you snapped to the noise. Izuku wandered through, holding the pale blue snow gliders in hand. The small flowers that mightily pushed through the snow in winter, only to hang their heads after their victory of achieving the surface. Izuku looked between you and Katsuki and said sheepishly, I saw you stop before, and come this way. I was worried. Katsuki dropped his gaze again. You better hurry back to the tribe, Deku. They're already starting to notice your clumsy ass missing, wondering why nothing's broken yet. You exchange a glance with Izuku, and he smiles reassuringly. Actually, I'm not coming back. Katsuki straightened, staring at Izuku with wide eyes. What? Izuku ducked his head bashfully. Those few weeks that I didn't come out of the village, I was miserable, Kachan. When I came back out here, back to Papi, I realized there's nothing for me there. The tribe healer will never give me a real chance. Everyone hates me. I just feel like staying here is the right thing to do. Katsuki was too stiff, staring like he didn't recognize them. You reach out in concern. Kats? A man burst into the clearing, huffing and staring at you with wild eyes. I found you. The stranger breathed. I finally found you. You shifted instantly, pausing only to allow Izuku on your back. But the man begs, clawing forward to stop you. No, please. I've searched my whole life to find you. Please, just talk to me for a moment, please. You hesitate. Who was this man? Judging by his clothes, he was definitely not from any of the surrounding tribes. And yet he seemed to know you. What the fuck are you waiting for? Move! Katsuki screams. When the man nears you, Katsuki grabs onto him, yanking him away and throwing him into the tree. He holds him there with his forearm at his throat, sneering as he orders, Go! Now! No! The man cries desperately, pleading with you like you could save him from death. Celestial, please, I just want to talk to you. I mean you no harm. I did everything to find you. Celestial? Why did that name sound familiar? Katsuki pushed his arm deeper into the man's throat, his eyes hot and piercing into the man's soul. You're the one who put the bounty on them, weren't you? The man blinked at Katsuki in confusion. A bounty? What are you talking about? I never put a bounty on the Celestial. I put a reward out to find them, alive. Why? Katsuki demanded. The man did not answer. His eyes flick between you and the murderous blonde in front of him. Conflicted, you lean down, silently requesting for Izuku to climb off. "Puppy, are you sure?" Izuku asks with concern. You shift back, nodding to reassure him, and then turn to the strange man. He seemed disheveled, not someone used to the wild. His hair was pure white, almost as though he'd taken scoops of snow to mold into strands. Slight waves framed his face, and seemed to enhance the silvery grey in his eyes as they clung to you. You consider him critically. You'd never seen this man in your life, and yet he knew you. "How do you know me?" you inquire, ready to put all this mess of bounties and foreigners hunting you to rest. The man's eyes flick to Katsky, and you exhale. "Katsky, let him speak. You're choking him." "Are you stupid?" Katsky snapped, furious reds shifting to glare at you. "Come on, Katsky, there's 3 of us. What's he gonna do?" You placate logically. "Deku doesn't count." "Hey!" Izuku pounded as you scold. "Katsky!" Growling in reluctance, Katsky releases the man. He gasps, catching his breath in gulps. "Weakling," Katsky muttered. You shoot him an unimpressed side-eye. When the man had recovered, his eyes rose to you with a glaze, like he'd found the Holy Grail. You swallow, uncomfortable with such intensity. How much do you remember from when you were young?" he asked, hesitantly. "Not a lot," you answer honestly. The man's eyes glinted before he looked to the ground and took a deep breath. "My name is Katai Hiroaki, of the Kakureta tribe." He spoke as though his words should mean something to you, but you merely furrowed your eyebrows in confusion. "Am I supposed to know where that is?" Katai's shoulders drooped. His look pitying and forlorn. "You are, because it's your tribe." Your eyes widen. Beside you, Izuku inhales sharply and Katsky tenses. But you are focused on Katai. The simple sentence screaming in your head. He'd come from your tribe, and there was another person who knew your origin. "I have been searching for you since the fire." "Do you remember the fire?" Katai continues, soberly. "I remember," you say too suddenly, but hesitate to question. Did anyone else make it out?" Katai avoided your gaze, shaking his head. "I'm sorry, we were the only 2 to survive." It didn't make sense to grieve that news, considering whatever family you had in the tribe had long since been lost to you. But you'd had hope for a split second, only for it to be diminished just as quickly. "May I ask, Katai-san, how did you know they survived?" Izuku questioned. "Because they are the Celestial," he stated simply, his stare smothered in reverence as he looked to you, like a man dying of thirst, laying eyes on water. "I knew you would not die so easily." "Okay, fucker," Katsky sneered impatiently. "Why do you keep calling the mud that? What the fuck is a Celestial?" Katai pursed his lips, eyeing Katsky distastefully. "The Kakureta tribe may not still exist, but I don't believe I should be sharing our secrets with you." "What the fuck do you mean by that?" Katsky advanced, his palms sparking, but you hold out your hand. "These 2 have been taking care of me since they found me, injured in their forest. They're trustworthy. Whatever you want to tell me, you can tell them too." Katai didn't seem inclined to say more, but he relented. "If you trust them, the Celestial is a powerful spirit that belongs to the Kakureta tribe. It chooses 1 in each generation to empower with its strength. They are the protectors of our tribe, and hold more power than the chief. Had the tribe not fallen, you would have been worshipped." Katai's eyes glimmered, fiercely with conviction, but you chuckled awkwardly while faced with his vehemence. Me? Worshipped? That sounds unbelievable, you say, uncomfortable with that inflated description. You are nobody out here in the woods. Protector of your people sounded way out of bounds for what you were qualified for. And would that mean that you failed to protect them when danger arrived? Can you tell us why Kakureta fell? Izuku interrogated. A quick glance over at him showed both sympathetic and suspicious eyes watching Katai. At his sides, his fingers worked characters into his palms, almost as though he was taking notes of everything Katai said. A look to Katsuki showed a similar sharp stare, brimming with irate skepticism. You frown at their reactions. It wasn't as though you trusted this man completely, but how could he be lying when he knew about you and your tribe? We've always kept the secret of the Celestial exclusively to the Kakureta people, but unfortunately, word got out. Hunters came for you, Katai explained sorrowfully. They wanted to claim you for themselves, but the elders... He swallowed like the next part was hard to say. They were going to kill you, to spare the spirit from falling into enemy hands. They didn't care, but your parents and I did care. They entrusted you to me and told us to run, but I lost you in the fire. I am so sorry, Celestial. You wouldn't have been alone all this time if it hadn't been for my carelessness. Your heart saddened at his words, at the guilt he felt. It's not your fault. I'm sure you didn't mean to. Why the fuck did they trust them with you? Katsuki interrupted with narrow eyes. You don't look like much. Katai appeared bashful at Katsuki's questioning. Well, that's something I should discuss with the Celestial. Alone. You tilt your head curiously. What could possibly be so private? Bold of you to assume you're going to be alone with them. You just met. Katsuki spat viciously. Why did my parents trust me to you? You inquire. Invested in the events that happened, in the memories you'd long forgotten, and wondering why Katai was so protective of this little piece of information. Katai cleared his throat, seeming suddenly uncomfortable under their attention. Well, it's custom for the Celestial to marry the next chief of the tribe, as they will rule over the tribe together. And well, you see, I was supposed to be the next chief. You were my betrothed.